Welcome back to another Forge College Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the mechanics of Ethereum. Now, you'll notice right away we're looking at a beautifully minimalist engineering blueprint today. Just some crisp orange and dark green ink on textured beige paper. And just a quick heads up, even though this is a Forge College production, you are absolutely not going to see any of our logos cluttering up these drawings. We want literally nothing distracting you from the pure, unadulterated mechanics we're about to unpack.
So, you survived our last lesson on Solana Cloud? Fantastic job. But hey, take a deep breath because we are jumping right back into the intricate weeds of Ethereum. If you've ever felt that absolute acute pain of watching a transaction fail, or honestly worse, getting it stuck endlessly in the mempool while your funds just sort of float in purgatory, yeah, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to fix that today.
Okay, let's dive right into our structured blueprint for today. We'll start with an introduction to gas mechanics, move into defining price versus limit, explore a mental model we called the auction and the fence, run through some transaction failure scenarios, and wrap up with best practices and optimization.
Section 1. Introduction to Gas Mechanics, Navigating the Mempool. Think of this part as your essential survival guide for navigating the dark, scary woods of Ethereum transactions, without burning through your hard-earned funds for no reason. Let's establish our arithmetic anchor right off the bat. Remember, every single EVM opcode, every tiny piece of computation has a fixed gas cost. So your total execution cost is simply the number of gas units consumed by the network multiplied by the unit price you set. It's a really simple equation, but it dictates exactly how much Ether leaves your wallet. The big question we need to answer is, which parts of this equation do you actually control?
Section 2. Defining price versus limit, the Great Divide.
Now, what's really interesting here is that we're going to clearly split the two distinct critical levers you have at your disposal every single time you hit submit on a transaction. Notice how perfectly this captures the dual nature of an Ethereum transaction. On one side, we have the gas price. This is a purely economic signal. It's your literal bid for block space. On the other side, we have the gas limit. This is a technical cap. It's your maximum resource constraint. Gas price is all about market competition, right? Like how fast do you want to go? Gas limit, though, is entirely about execution safety and protecting your wallet from runaway code. I gotta tell you, conflating these two is literally the #1 reason people lose money on transaction fees.
Section 3. The Auction and Fence, a mental model.
To make absolutely sure you never mix these two parameters up again, we're going to use a slightly quirky, but honestly highly effective mental model involving a bustling produce market. So, let's paint a picture. Imagine the mempool is this incredibly busy, noisy marketplace. Your transaction is a little produce stall, and you are desperately trying to get your goods displayed on a very limited shelf. That shelf being the next Ethereum block. The gas price, that's the bid you attach to your produce. If you offer a higher bid, the market organizers, the miners and validators, are going to give you prime shelf position. You get executed sooner. It's an auction, plain and simple. Higher price equals higher priority.
And this brilliantly illustrates the second part of our model, the fence. Imagine a sturdy boundary built right around your produce stall. This fence is your gas limit. It essentially stops a demanding customer, or in our Web3 reality, a complex smart contract, from forcing you to do an unlimited amount of work. It bounds your cost exposure. Now listen closely. The fence doesn't help you win a spot on the shelf. It just protects you once you're already there. A high fence means you're willing to do a lot of work if needed, but it absolutely doesn't make your stall any more attractive to the organizers than a high bid does.
Section 4. Transaction failure scenarios. What could go wrong? So, what actually happens when these levers are set wrong? Let's take a humorous but highly practical look at exactly how things can blow up in your face when you ignore the auction or the fence. Scenario A is what we call the under limit. Imagine a contract call that objectively requires 150,000 gas to finish its math, but you confidently set your gas limit to 100,000 with a perfectly fine price of 50 gwei. Well, what happens? The EVM starts crunching the numbers, hits your 100,000 limit, and then abruptly stops. It halts. It reverts the state back to exactly how it was, and here's the really painful part. It still charges you for the 100,000 gas you used. The network still did the work, you underset the limit, you guaranteed a failure, and you basically burned your own funds for absolutely zero result. Ouch.
Then we have scenario B, the over limit. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, I'll just set the limit to 10 million so it literally never fails. Same 150,000 gas needed. Now, The good news here is that Ethereum protocol dictates that any unused gas from your limit is returned to you. So mathematically, you'd only end up paying for the 150,000. But wait, there is a massive catch. Before the transaction even goes through, your wallet or node does an upfront pre-check. It multiplies your absurd 10 million limit by the 50 Gwei price and checks if you actually have that massive amount of Ether sitting in your wallet right now. If you don't, it blocks the submission entirely. You fail before you even start. No way around it.
And finally, scenario C, the low price wait. Let's say you set a smart limit of 200,000. Great, but you get a little stingy and set your gas price to 2 Gwei, while everyone else in the market is paying a median of, say, 40 Gwei. So the crucial point is, this isn't a technical failure. Your transaction is perfectly valid, but it's just going to sit there and sit. Validators have absolutely no economic incentive to pick up your 2 Gwei transaction when they have a line of people offering 40 right next to you. You've essentially ruined your inclusion latency, potentially for days or until the network just drops the transaction entirely.
Let's crystallize this with a really simple matrix you can mentally reference. Look at the top row, gas limit. Its primary effect is capping execution work. If you set it too low, it reverts and you lose fees. Set it too high, and you might get blocked by a pre-check, even though unused gas is returned. Now look at the bottom row, gas price. Its primary effect is controlling inclusion priority. Set it too low, you're delayed or dropped. Set it too high, you get faster inclusion for sure, but you overpay. Just remember this golden rule. Gas limit is technical, gas price is economic.
Section 5. Best Practices in Optimization, the Engineer's Checklist. All right, we've talked theory and we've seen the disasters. Now let's pivot to the actionable takeaways you actually need the very next time you open your Web3 wallet. Here is your rapid-fire, 4-step engineer's checklist to perfectly configure your transaction every single time. Step 1. Explicitly decide your desired speed, like how fast do you really need this? Step 2. Inspect the expected consumption. Just use your wallet's estimation tool. Step 3. Set your gas limit just slightly above that estimate. Usually 1.1 to 1.5 times is a perfect safety buffer to allow for variance without triggering those pesky pre-check blocks. And step 4, set your price based on current market percentiles that match the speed you decided on in step 1. Separate the two decisions, follow the checklist, and you will save yourself so many headaches.
So, if you set your limit to 10 million and your price to 2 Gwei, who loses first, your wallet or the network? Think about that as you prepare to convert these abstract levers into exact numbers. Because, let's move to and see how this builds. Actually, scratch that. That is exactly what we will be covering in our upcoming lesson, Gwei and gas estimation. Until then, to truly master these Web3 fundamentals, make sure to visit forge.college. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep building.